So, what is the problem? Yet another government shutdown. And what's the solution? This one's pretty straightforward. Term limits for Congress. Okay, here we go again. Another government shutdown, and another reminder that Congress can't do the core part of its job, pass a budget. Here are some of the key points about this latest government shutdown. We are weeks into this shutdown, and most Americans just shrug. They just let out a loud sigh. This is like the 10th shutdown in the past few decades. Both parties act like children instead of adults. But there is a solution. That's the good news. 2 constitutional amendments that will end this circus permanently. Hello, America. I'm Patrick Trepanier, and welcome to the Shrink DC Save America podcast. I'm the author of American Restraint, and this show is loosely based on a lot of the ideas in American Restraint. Please comment, love your comments, like, subscribe. Really helps get the word out about the show. So, why do government shutdowns keep on happening? The core problem is Congress literally can't even do its most basic job, pass budgets. You know, it's in the Constitution, right? Passing a budget shouldn't be this difficult. Individuals, families do it every week and every month. Businesses do it all the time. It's the minimum job requirement. Status quo solutions, though, just won't work. We keep thinking, hey, let's just elect someone different. No, Congress just keeps shutting down. Here's the paradox. Congress has like a 15% approval rate, yet they get reelected at like 95%. Why? The system's rigged so they can get reelected, stay in power, keep their insider trading, all of their perks. But nobody wants these people. They keep coming back. We need to stop them from coming back. That's what term limits are all about. They have zero incentive to reform themselves. So the structural solution and why we need constitutional amendments is we don't need just status quo solutions of, elect someone different. That doesn't work. America's broken. We need structural solutions. And like last week, or actually 2 weeks ago, we talked about another structural solution, shrinking DC, giving most of it back to Maryland and having a core part of like the White House, Congress, and Supreme Court as District of Columbia and shrink DC in order to save America. It's about physically and symbolically shrinking DC. So a little bit more detail about term limits. Amendment 1, what is this all about? It clears out the career politicians who've been in DC for decades and really haven't accomplished that much. Brings in some new blood, fresh perspective, people willing to get things done and work together, not just stay in Washington forever and enrich themselves. It'll also remove the permanent political class, these revolving door politicians, lobbyists, contributors on cable news that are benefiting from the dysfunction. And here's just a side note. Even though I am probably independent, right of center, I totally disagree with the argument that conservatives make about, government dysfunction is built into the Constitution. We want gridlock. I think we want government to be thoughtful, but we don't want to be completely dysfunctional and broken as it is right now. So what's the Second Amendment to fix the government shutdown problem? The Balanced Budget Amendment. First, it will eliminate the shutdown leverage. Budgets have to pass, period. End of story. No, showing up in front of the cameras and talking about this point or that point. Just pass the budget. It also stops passing unlimited debt onto the next generation. We're going to spend about, $1 trillion this year, more than the national defense budget on interest on the debt. It's just insane. And the fact that we have to keep talking about this. Balanced Budget Amendment will fix the government shutdown problem, and it'll force us to rethink our priorities in America. What can the federal government pay for, and what should they be paying for? So why is our approach on this show a little bit different? I think it's because we're optimistic about solutions. We're not just talking about problems and complaining here, right? We're thoughtful about the implementation, try to bridge build across parties, not just blame it on one side or the other. In my mind, everyone in Washington, D.C. needs to take blame for why this country is broken. And the solution is about changing the system, changing the structure of our national government in order to fix America. So what's next on the show? We'll be talking more about the national debt crisis. It's a real problem, debt in our country. We'll also be talking about the housing crisis. That's a big problem affecting a lot of people's lives, especially the younger generations. We'll also be talking about a spiritual revival that's making its way across America, and I hope it can play a part in some of these optimistic solutions to shrink DC and fix America. So here's the bottom line. Congress won't fix itself. That's why we need Convention of States in order to add these amendments and finally force Washington to do its job. 19 of 34 states have already passed the resolution to call for an Article 5 constitutional convention. 15 more states. Contact your legislator today and get them to call for a convention of states. America can be fixed, right? That's what I wanted to end on. But only if we choose restraint and structural reform. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.